Hey there, and welcome to the ADK channel. I, of course, am Dave. We have Andy with me, of course, tonight, and unfortunately, no Kirk, as he has a prior commitment. But we do have Dave, Kevin, Ant, and Rich from the wonderful band Lowdown. Welcome to the channel.
Thanks very much for having us, dude.
Hi, thanks for having us.
It's great to have you on here. We obviously saw you, we've seen you twice recently. So we saw you very recently at the Metal to the Masses Heat in Hitchin, and of course, just before that, we saw you at the Red Line. Alongside obviously Andy with Nomadic Rain playing on the same night, so a great night of rock and metal out of Stevenage. We will ask you a few questions. I'm going to kick it straight off. The first question I throw to every band on here is band name. We need to get that for anyone that's not sure. So we have a band called Lowdown. Why are you called Lowdown, and what does it actually mean in your reference point?
Well, it's weird because I've been in another band before this one, and originally, probably about 15 years ago, I wanted to start playing guitar, and I wanted to do more guitar-based sort of music, because at the time I was just a singer in a sort of a touring band. So I was obsessed 15 years ago by Black Label Society, if you couldn't guess.
No, never.
Yeah, one of my favourite songs at the time was Lowdown. And I thought, maybe I'll just learn to play some more guitar by calling myself a Black Label song.
Fair.
And then I didn't play guitar for like 15 years. And then I met Rich and Kev, the devastating rhythm section. And yeah, I thought, okay, let's float a few names. And Lowdown was just there.
It's a good name. It's got a few different connotations that you could use, but it's actually a very good response for a band question for once.
Nice.
We've had some very interesting ones over the last few months, and at least yours actually has some context and background.
So do you want me to say something like I found it out of Kinder Egg?
That wouldn't be far off some like we've ever had.
Yes.
Now, the band itself hasn't been around very long as far as Lowdown as band. So you literally, as far as I know, formed last year.
Yep.
Take us through the formation of this band. Where did this all come from then?
Well, I lived in South East London until about a year and a half ago. And I moved up here to do, really to be with my missus, and then to start tattooing. And at the time, just coming out of like COVID times, I needed to do music. That's my mental health kind of like clarity. So when I moved up here, I got on the line with Rich and Kev. Well, actually, I got on the line with Rich first, and he said that he knows like a pretty shit hot bassist. So I thought, oh, sweet, all right. So we arranged a rehearsal.
He didn't show up.
I ended up with you, did they, Kev?
Yeah,
Really?
So we settled with Kev.
Yeah, they settled on me.
So now it literally that's kind of how it went from there. We started writing some stuff, and then it just grew legs and just carried on. And I think really within the last maybe 6 months, I don't know if you guys would disagree, but in the last maybe 6 months, we've kind of jettisoned and taken the next steps type of thing, because it was just a way to have fun, man. It was just a way to have a beer and have a good fucking time.
And we've had some good fun as well. We've had some ups and downs along the way, but definitely had a lot of good fun playing some really good gigs.
Yeah.
And picking up some good following, which is what being in a band is all about. And as Dave said, yeah, like when we first met Dave, it was kind of breath of fresh air that we had a guitar player who was so heavy in his riffs and so original in his songwriting as well, which was kind of cool. So myself and Kev came from a band called Nova. We were kind of a sort of hard rock band, but then through COVID, like most bands, we kind of split up and we separated. The guys then went off to did a something called Buried on Sunday, who I think are playing at Metal to the Masses next week or the week after. And myself and Kev wrote several songs on their album and recorded 3. Is that right, Kev?
I think so, might have even been 4. But anyway.
Okay, cool. But yeah, by the by, but teaming up with Dave, it's just opened the love again for like the heavier side of music, and I think we're writing some good tracks as well. And so one of which we're kind of just in the process of releasing in the next couple of weeks. I think you guys have been privy to a pre-launch recording of it. So
Indeed.
Yeah, we've got another one which we're just finishing off as well, which Dave's got to put some vocals down. Hopefully we should have that back in a couple of weeks as well. So yeah, there we go. There's my tough money's worth.
And obviously we should mention the fact that up until a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, there would have only been 3 of you on this channel when we were talking. So we've got a new member to the band. Do you want to talk about how Ant joining Lowdown? Where did this all come from then?
Take it away, Ant.
Well, basically, I'm new to Lowdown boys from seeing them at Bullstock, and they played before my other band, the Real McCoys. I remember standing there going, "Beep! These guys are pretty damn heavy," and they're like Black Label Society. Tremonti, all blended into one. I was standing going, you know what, these guys are brilliant. They're so good.
Thanks, mate.
You're very welcome. And then, as the time went on, I saw Dave post a couple of kind of adverts on social media about looking for a guitarist. Standing there thinking, that's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. So I messaged Dave, I had a chat about it, and here I am.
And sounded good, Ant, as well.
Well, we're going to get to see you. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to be there playing by the time we get to the quarterfinal stages.
Yes, so I'll be there.
We'll have a Spinal Tap moment, if not.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, what did you have on the agenda for questions?
I did have some set questions, but I'm going to raise a couple of points that have come up from what the guys have said already. I can't remember the exact term. It was sort of mentioned to me, and someone did give me the actual description of the 2 dots above the O. There's a term for that particular letter. Is that a homage to Motorhead, or is there any other story behind that? What's the thought behind that, Dave?
So it is. It's called an umlaut. And it's half, it's half an homage to bands that have been previous, and it's half just to look fucking cool. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, actually, it was Kev that came up with the idea. So we've got Lowdown, and obviously they both have. There's two barrels to Lowdown, and you've got the 2 O's, and it's a funny thing actually, because if you have the umlaut on it, if you say Lowdown with it, it's Lowdown, which kind of very similar to how Kev talks. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's half of an homage to bands that have been before, and the other thing, it just looks fucking cool on a logo, man. It just does.
Yeah, talking point.
Actually, going back to the Motorhead umlaut above the top, I actually know the guy that designed the original Motorhead logo, a guy that I met up in St Albans, and he actually said that the umlaut was actually a mistake, because when they were doing the lettering, it was actually on the letter set. When he rubbed it off, the 2 dots were above the O, and they just kept it like that, and that's the true story. So if you look at the Motorhead logo, I think there's a guy called Philip Lloyd Smee. But had a massive record collection as well. Big collector of art, comic books, and a massive designer in the record business. But apparently the Motorhead logo, that was a mistake. The letter set rubbed off on the wrong part. So there we go. Ours is intentional though.
It's amazing you mentioned letter sets. That reminds me of sort of the Battery logo. It's hard to think that back in the day, that's how bands created their logos and their merch and their album covers, by rubbing down little black letters with a pencil. It's incredible. And you mentioned Bullstock. I also saw Lowdown at Bullstock sort of August last year. Was that one of your first, if not your first gig, Dave?
So Bullstock was not. Bullstock, I think, was maybe our second gig. I think. Possibly the third, actually. But the first one was Redfest at Red Lion in Stevenage. And weirdly enough, the live video that we put out of Tell Me More on our YouTube channel was the first gig that we did. And we were all actually really shocked about how much fun and just how easy the whole process was. Felt like we've been doing it for ages. So hence it gains traction. We actually started looking at it from a serious point of view. Still obviously trying to have fun, but no, Ballstock was that was a good laugh. Unfortunately, we had to have one of our tracks cut at the Ballstock set, just due to timing, just time issues and stuff like that. But no, I think that was over our second or our third gig. So yeah, we were very honoured to be given such a platform to go straight in with something like that from a band, like you've already said, relatively unknown.
Yeah,
we've got strength since.
If I remember right, it's sort of early evening slot, sort of 7-8 o'clock, wasn't it?
It was a great slot. Really,
slot, yeah.
We had people going over benches. We had people jumping around. It was great, man. It was great.
But we missed the rain as well, which is really good. I think the night before it absolutely pissed it down in rain. We were fortunate
that afternoon as well.
Yeah,
did in the afternoon. The weather god shone on us because it was raining all afternoon, and then it stopped in the evening.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it down during the Real McCoy's first set on the High Street stage, because we started playing and the rain's come down and everybody just went,
yeah.
Bye.
Been there, done that.
Forgive me if this is sort of an irrelevant question, but is there a song that's always first out on the set list? One you're always going to play? One that you guys all want to play, or is it too early to? Have you got that sort of? Like my band, we don't have to think too much about the set. You've got 6 songs. Is there one of yours that will always be on there, as far as you can see?
Probably whatever single we're pushing at the time. I mean, it's difficult because obviously we've all got different opinions on the tracks. Like, for example, a track that I think is probably one of our most middle of the road acceptable tracks is some of the other guys' favourite tracks. So it kind of is like a mix and mash of kind of what we think. I think the most fun, to play is probably Tell Me More. Like, we've got the video and the new single coming out, roughly speaking, second week of April. Yet to be confirmed on a date, but that's probably for me the most fun to play, just because I can just squeal the fuck out of the guitar constantly. So that's great to me.
Which you do a lot, I must say.
Yeah, man.
You like the old harmonics, is that the phrase? The squeals. Yeah, love all that.
Yeah.
And the last one from me really is, what's the sort of songwriting process? Does a lot of it come from you, or do the other guys contribute a bit as well?
Yeah, so it's kind of like we'll all have ideas. We have like a group chat that we'll send riffs and ideas to. So then we'll put it in there, and then we'll kind of figure out which one we're going to work on next. And then when we're in the studio, we kind of jam through them, and if they work, they work, and we carry on and write it. If they don't, we move on to the next one. I'm a firm believer in let the song write itself. Don't push it.
Dave's been too modest there. He's the one that comes in with most of the riffs that end up being turned into the songs. I mean, 95% of the stuff's Dave. You've been a bit too modest there, Dave. But
well, yeah, it's a group thing to finish writing it. Although I might sort of bring the riff, it's just we write.
All hail the riff.
All hail motherfucking riff.
It was really funny. It was in the beginning when we first sort of teamed up with Dave. Actually, we were getting like a recording every night and say, "What do you think of this riff, guys? We'll try this one." Literally for about 3-4 weeks, it was like brand new riffs coming through, all of which could make brilliant songs. But when you piece them together, as Dave says, the writing process, you sort of think it's a brilliant riff, but it doesn't go well with that particular track or those particular lyrics. And we kind of chuck it out and then try to recycle it later on down the line. I think we're just working on something you wrote about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
At the moment. Which Anders just done us like a demo of it to send to all of us, because we sort of kind of rehearsed it the other night. And very alter bridgey, would you say?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. It's a major riff with a minor intro, if that makes sense. So it starts on a minor, and eventually it will escalate to a big, powerful, major chorus. So that, kind of Alter Bridgey.
So that's all I've got to ask. Dave, over to you.
Okay. Before I get to the very last question, I was just sitting there thinking about what you were saying there about the sharing and the WhatsApps and the group chats, and just sort of started going back. I started thinking back when I first was doing the bands back in early 2000, before group chats. So in our case, it used to be the best. We thought we were like top of technology then, when you used to write a riff and then you'd save it to your email, then you'd send it in a mass email to everyone, wait for your emails to come back.
Yeah.
I think although we complain a lot about technology of like streaming and how you don't make any money, at least we do have the opportunity to be able to write music so easily now, in the sense of everyone's got home studios, DAW setups. You can all write riffs, send riffs back, import them, twiddle back, send something back, and you don't have to do as much writing in the rehearsal studio as much as you used to in the old days. But just kind of was something that was just floating from my head as you were talking about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, final question. So plans for 2023. We obviously know you've got Metal to the Masses coming up for quarterfinals. So congrats for that.
Thank you.
We know you've got music video coming up. So talk us through, obviously we've got the music video. What other plans are on the agenda for Lowdown this year?
So generally speaking, I like to try and set up a 6-month plan. It's worked for me previously. The difficult part at the moment for Lowdown doing the 6-month plan is I originally started that plan last August-ish, something like that, and there's been a few speed bumps on the way. So we've kind of had to reset it every time, trying to reset. But main thing is have a good fucking time, man. You know, play some gigs, have a few beers, and just get your chin out. Get your riff on, you know, that's it. If you can do that, to me, that's a good fucking day.
Apart from obviously the single that we're going to get from the music video, will we be getting an EP anytime soon for all the material?
Yeah.
Well, by the end of this year?
I'm hoping to have it done by festival season, because there's a few festivals that I want to try and jump on. And to be able to do that, weird enough, Rich actually has just started doing like a press sheet to send out, to kind of go a little bit old school, which I think kind of benefits nowadays things. That was Rich's idea, so we're probably going to carry on with that, and more gigs, more beers, and more riffs.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, I just want to say a big thank you to obviously Dave, Kevin, Ant, and Rich for joining us this evening on the channel. Please go check out Lowdown on the Facebook. We'll whack a link in the description down below. Keep an eye out for their new music videos. Go and check them out on YouTube. And again, big thank you to Lowdown for joining us on the ADK channel today. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.